Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I have briefly stepped out during my local congregation's Shabbat worship service. It's hard to believe, but the month of May is concluding, which means that calendar year 2025 is almost halfway over or so. Of course, we still have the month of June ahead of us, but where has all the time gone? And just look back at the past 4 to 5 months. How many changes have taken place both here in America as well as in the world? I know that many of us continue to have significant questions about all of the ongoing hotspots, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, Iran, and elsewhere. And of course, a lot of things which are happening here at home in the United States. In 4 weeks, our family will be on our way to the Messiah 2025 conference in Grantham, Pennsylvania. So this month is going to go by, upcoming month, June, is going to go by very, very fast with a lot of preparations, as well as me trying to get a few things completed before we leave. So among some of those things, of course, we've got the June 2025 Outreaches Real News, which I've completed the rough draft. So I've got to submit that this week. I'm going to have the July 2025 newsletter completed before we leave. Among some of our update book projects, I'm hoping to see the Messianic Kosher Helper, that updated edition, ready before we leave. I'm not so sure about the combined When Will the Messiah Return? Dangers of Pre-Tribulationism. I have one more new chapter to work through, and then the new introduction to write. So that might not be finished until we get back. It's hard to say. This week, I've also made some significant progress on the pastoral epistles for the practical messianic commentary. I got through 1 Timothy chapter 3. Now, this is a larger commentary than some of the others we've updated. We're working on the much larger ones now. So roughly, it's going to take between now and probably the end of next year, the end of 2026, before all the commentaries are updated. And I've talked about how we have all this experience over the past, certainly 12 years since we moved out here to North Texas, got reconnected to the Messianic Jewish movement. We've got all these experiences we've got to absorb. And with the Pastoral Epistles commentary, that original study was conducted in 2010, 2011. So a lot of that material hasn't been really looked at since we lived in Florida. So that's being worked through right now. And then I've got a couple of other things behind the scenes which are happening. And of course, Messianic Insider 5 times a week. Yesterday's episode was a little longer because it dealt with the theology topic. We went through the Galatians 5, 2, and 3 FAQ. So if you haven't watched or listened to that, please do so. On Fridays, because of the weekend, I'm going to try to do something a little longer. That also means on Mondays we'll probably have a shorter theology teaching because we'll have all the news from the weekend to cover. Sometime during this next week, we probably will also have some other theology teaching, so Tuesday, Wednesday, but probably not as long as the one we had yesterday. So please do go and look at that teaching on Galatians 5, 2, and 3. I think it's going to answer a lot of questions, but it will also present a perspective which you probably have never heard before. As always, we greatly appreciate your prayers, your ongoing support of all of our ministry efforts. Tomorrow evening, we'll begin a Shavuot, more commonly known as Pentecost, for the Jewish and Messianic Jewish communities. So on Monday, we're going to do some reflection on the significance of Shavuot, the giving of the Torah as well as the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, which I think will be very important for some of us to be considering, because we're living in increasingly more complicated times and we need both God's instruction and His Spirit. So Shabbat Shalom. Wish you a pleasant, restful weekend. And we will just continue on with our conversation as we do so.